Ever get that feel? You know that feeling like you're kind of fumbling around for life's instruction manual?
Hmm.
I swear, if someone had just like handed me a chapter on attitude a while back,
Who tell me about
it
it?
would have saved myself a lot of headaches, you know? And the thing is, attitude, it's not just some vague self-help thing. We're going deep on this one, right?
Yeah. And what's wild is we're pulling from like self-help gurus, A&D, actual psychology today, which I find fascinating.
Totally. So we've got Jeff Keller's book. It's called Attitude is Everything.
Okay.
Full disclosure, I found it through, get this, an infomercial.
No way.
Talk about judging a book, right? But then we've also got these serious psych studies and even like a really interesting book review from Bombay Reads. It's a whole mix.
I love that. It's like, that's what's so cool about these deep dives. We get these different angles to really wrap our heads around something that, let's be real, affects everything.
Exactly. And speaking of affecting everything, Keller, he kicks off with this scene, right? It's two people, Sarah and Sam, same coffee shop,
Okay.
same waitress, same everything, but Sarah's having a blast, all smiles. Sam, miserable. It's almost funny how relatable it is.
It's so true, though. Just shows how attitudes like this lens. Psychologists even have a term for it. It's called cognitive appraisal. But basically, it's not about denying reality, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's about how we choose to see it, engage with it. Same event, totally different experience.
Yeah, instead of seeing clearly, it's like some of us are looking through a dirty window, you know? Everything's just a bit duller. And then you've got someone like Kent Cullers, and this just blew me away. Cullers is a blind NASA scientist. He designs software to find aliens, and he calls being blind trivial.
That is powerful. Talk about reframing, right?
Yeah.
He could have easily been defined by that. But he chose to see it as like a minor inconvenience, not this huge roadblock. Makes you think, what if we all did that?
Right. It's huge. But Keller, he doesn't stop there. He gets into how we talk to ourselves, the words we use, and I gotta admit, this one hit a little close to home for me. We're talking home repairs, or my lack thereof. Leaky faucet, I'm out.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Years of telling myself, I am no good at that stuff. Turns out there's this law of dominant thought. What you repeat, even if it's in your head, becomes your belief, then your actions. DIY, disaster, right here.
It's true. And it's not just DIY. This links up with like self-fulfilling prophecies, even confirmation bias in psychology. Think about how often you might say, I'm terrible with money, or I'm always getting sick. It can actually like influence things.
Oof. Yeah, a little too real. I used to do this thing whenever anyone asked how I was, I'd just be like, okay, guess what? Life was just okay back then. You ever fall into those traps?
All the time. But that's exactly why being aware of our language is so huge. Like, notice how often you're negative, especially about things you want to change. Money, relationships, health, anything. Even that I'm fine can be unsettling.
So if words are that powerful, can't we just like think positive and be done with it? Visualize success, boom, instant millionaire.
If only. Remember those annoying jingles that get stuck in your head? Repetition works both ways, even for the bad stuff.
True, we're like sponges soaking it all up.
Exactly. And Keller uses that to talk about who we surround ourselves with. The people, the info we consume, is it helping us grow or like subtly holding us back? Are they toxic or nourishing?
Love that. And talk about nourishing. Meet Dottie Berman. This woman taught high school for 32 years. Then at 50, went for her showbiz dreams, even ended up on Letterman.
Yeah.
Confronting those fears head on, right?
And that's key. Courage isn't no fear, it's acting despite it. Keller has this comfort zone idea. Picture a circle. That's your safe space, right? Outside, those are the scary X's. Farther out the X, scarier it seems.
So what's your X then? What's out there, just outside, making you nervous?
Ooh, good question. Makes me think about Dottie Berman again. How sometimes the biggest journeys, they start with that one little step outside.
Okay, feeling pumped, but also, gotta be honest, a little scared. This whole face your fears thing, it makes sense, but what if you step out and like trip? What about failing?
You know, that's huge. And it shows how much we as adults fear that, failing. Think about kids, right? Falling off the bike, it's practically expected. You got to fall to learn to ride.
So we should be like kids, embrace those metaphorical scraped knees. Easier said than done, I think.
Right. But the thing is, failure, we make it this big, scary monster. We forget it's just information. You learn, you adjust, you get better.
So not avoiding it, but almost like shifting how we see it. Feedback, not a personal attack.
Yes. Like in baseball, a 300 batting average, that's amazing. But it means failing 70% of the time.
Whoa, never thought of it like that. Even Michael Jordan, the best, right? His shooting average was around 50%. He missed as much as he made.
Exactly. But we remember the game winners, the successes. Those misses were part of it. Data points on the way to being legendary.
It's like those Chicken Soup for the Soul books. Heard they got rejected, like over 30 times before being published.
See, that's persistence. They could have quit after 1, 10, 20 rejections. But each no was feedback. They adjusted till they got that yes.
Okay, mind blown. We're taught to avoid failure, when really it might be the most direct route to actually getting good at something.
It's a total perspective shift. And it goes back to attitude, right? If we see those setbacks as growth, learning moments, we build resilience we wouldn't have otherwise.
This is huge. So we've got attitude as our lens, words we use, fear as a guidepost, and failure as data. A lot, but empowering. It's a lot to take in, right? But it makes you wonder, if we're so influenced, like you said, is it even possible to build that like unshakable attitude when life's throwing curveballs left and right?
Man, that is the question. And it takes us to, honestly, one of the biggest takeaways today. Remember that sponge thing we were talking about? Soaking up what's around us?
Oh yeah, like that saying, you're the average of the 5 people you're around most.
Exactly. So if that's true, if attitudes can teach us, imagine surrounding yourself with people who already have the attitude you want.
So instead of just like trying to change in a vacuum, you're leveraging who you're with.
Think about it. The people you admire, the ones who handle things well, what if you spend more time with them, learning how they think?
It's like a shortcut almost to absorbing their like wisdom without even trying. Instead of reading about it, you're seeing it.
And it's not about becoming them, right?
Yeah.
It's about being around people who bring out your best self.
This whole deep dive has been like a masterclass in, I don't know, rewiring my brain. I'm ready to handle things differently, watch my words, all that.
And remember, it's a process, not like a one-time thing. There will be tough days, doubts, that's normal. But by making the effort, surrounding yourself right, seeing challenges as chances to grow, you handle things better, more resilient, more purpose.
This has been amazing. A whole new perspective on attitude, how to actually use it to create the life you want.
So glad to be here. And hey, remember, knowing this stuff is great, but putting it into practice, that's where the magic happens. So take this, experiment, and watch what happens, not just for you, but for everyone around you too.